We should just restart then.
Yeah.
Damn. Well, that's actually good. Would you like a bang?
You watched Tom and Jerry this weekend?
No, I didn't.
Or, I mean, not this weekend. Last week at some
Wednesday?
point. Sure. This is the Best Boys podcast, and we're gonna review Tom and Jerry.
Podcasting.
We're not reviewing Tom and Jerry.
No, that is a reference to a leak or some sort of mistake.
Something happened up in the Warner Bros. HQ, HBO Max HQ, and if you click the Tom and Jerry on the landing page, you got to watch Zack Snyder's R-rated Justice League. So imagine being a child and clicking on that.
I mean, you're just so excited to watch the Tom and Jerry movie, a movie that you probably don't really care about because Tom and Jerry's not nostalgic for you as a 6-year-old, but
it's a new movie.
Then you're like, okay, fun cartoon cat, fun cartoon mouse, and you click on it, and then the first thing you see is a dripping wet Jared Leto just standing in the middle of a very scary, dimly lit hallway, and you just hear, ah, ah, ah.
So yeah, the Snyder Cut leaked.
Yeah,
momentarily
for roughly an hour.
I think it was up for 2 hours.
Okay.
I think it was.
People noticed it.
I think people started calling it out about an hour in, and then it took them about an hour to get it taken care of.
Got it. So there was potential for someone to maybe see almost half of that movie.
Yeah, which is wild. But a lot of people definitely were like scrolling through looking for highlighted scenes.
Which, I mean, they're team content, so we thank them for that.
Yeah, I watched all of the scenes I found leaked because personally, as much as I love DC Comics and stuff, I don't have that much stake in the Snyder Cut. I'm willing to see a few scenes out of context prior to.
Well, and we've all already been spoiled to a degree. Like, we watched a whole different cut of this movie, so which obviously is different in comparison, but also, I mean, Zack Snyder's teased plenty of images and stuff and promos that are definitely spoilers.
Yeah. For sure. I mean,
so
all of these character promos that are getting released are like all
there's a
new
lot
content.
of footage, yeah. And which every time I see it, I'm like, God, they're spoiling a lot. But then I'm like, oh yeah, 4 hours.
It's 4 hours.
Yeah.
So like, what we
They've
watched
got plenty of time to spoil.
I watched 3 leaked scenes. You watched 1.5.
Yeah, I mean 2. The one
2.
that I stopped watching, there was like probably like 10 seconds left.
I mean, this is gonna be super annoying to people watching. Did you stop watching when I think you stopped watching?
It was when we saw our Lord and Savior.
Okay. Yeah.
The darker Lord and Savior.
Yeah, I got you.
The less handsome Lord and Savior. Because there's multiple Lords and Saviors in Zack Snyder's Justice League.
Yeah, they're all. I mean, basically every character is
Yeah, I mean
personified Jesus.
Yeah, well, Superman's obviously Jesus, or no, Superman's God, capital G.
Yeah.
Joker is Jesus. Batman is the Holy Spirit. Wonder Woman is Hera, and Flash is Apollo, and a Martian Manhunter is Beelzebub. Satan.
Nice.
Or I guess probably Darkseid would be Satan. That makes a bit more sense. Steppenwolf actually looks more threatening than Darkseid, I think.
Steppenwolf, I'm still not sold on his design.
Yeah, I mean, it's certainly better than
It's
last.
so much better. Like, 100% better.
Yeah.
But you made a very good point when we were talking about it a few weeks ago when we first started seeing stuff moving, that Darkseid specifically might not look very good because we haven't seen him interact with any living thing, so it might be
real actors.
It might feel more CG animated because it is.
Yeah, well, based on what I've heard and seen from the leaks, and just press from Zack Snyder around everything, I feel like Darkseid is playing a much smaller role in this movie than we anticipated.
100%.
Which I don't think it's a spoiler to say now that we know that it ends on a cliffhanger, and that was verified not by any of the spoilers, but by Zack Snyder.
Yeah, Zack Snyder said in an interview that it ends on a cliffhanger, and he has 2 more movies planned, which also leaked. The storyboard for those leaked, and there's some interesting ideas.
Yeah, which that we can get into next week or the week after.
Yeah, we'll talk about
once we've seen it.
When we've seen it, we'll talk about where he was planning on taking it and how that would have been received.
Also, should we tease a potential podcast collaboration that might happen because of the Snyder Cut? Is that safe?
I think it's safe to say it because we don't even know if it's happening at this point.
It's a hot maybe, but it looks very likely that one, just in general, we're getting a don't call it a comeback, Back in Black,
Men in Black 2.
Men in Black 2, Electric Boogaloo, return from Hawk Talk.
And if you watch us, you probably watched Hawk Talk at one point.
Most likely.
Let's be real.
Yeah, that's probably
I think it's a safe bet.
unless you're one of our family members or close friends, and even then you probably still did.
Yeah, yeah. It's Mahawk's podcast. You want to read Danny's tweet?
Yeah. So, we'll just read the tweet. We'll just talk about what's publicly available. But he said if we brought back, and this is a poll, if we brought back Hawk Talk for a one-time 4-hour long, oh my God, he did commit to the 4 hours.
He committed to the
he
4 hours?
He committed to the 4 hours. I did not read that the first time. Okay, so if we brought back Hawk Talk for a one-time 4-hour long live stream to discuss hashtag Snyder Cut, would you watch? Would you want to see any guests? If so, who? And so far, after about exactly 1 hour, this tweet has been live. By the time of this episode, the poll will probably be over. And are you logged in on Ismahawk's Instagram?
I am not.
Oh, okay, I was gonna say you should, because they posted a story poll.
Okay, you can see the result of the poll.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. If you just vote, I forgot that.
I already voted.
But anyways, it's
at 100% on the story.
So on Instagram, 100%. On Twitter, at 202 votes, we have 86% yes, 4% no, and 10% show me the results. So 10% are indifferent, 4% are against, but a resounding majority is.
How many votes are on there, you say?
202.
So it's a big majority.
Yeah, very large, like 180 people.
We will say the only piece of information we'll offer that has not been available to the public yet is if it happens, we will both guest together.
We will be there together. The Best Boys collab studio. Maybe we'll be here.
That's a good idea.
I mean, it'd be easier too.
Yeah. And especially if we're doing yeah, for sure.
Because then at the very least, me and you won't be cutting each other off digitally. Because that is the only downside to, and it would be a. I mean, they're not really finalizing anything, but it would be a web event, so it'd be live on.
Yeah, we do it over video calls, not.
Yes, not a big studio space in the ongoing global pandemic.
But yeah, that'll probably happen next weekend, possibly.
Yeah, if it happens, I think they said Sunday.
Which I mean is perfect. That's why we should definitely do it. We'll be
we could just do it either right before or right after next week's episode. Actually, we should do it after so we can steal everybody's takes.
Okay, let's we have so yeah, that's very exciting, especially for all you Ismahawk fans.
Big news.
I mean, that's how we started.
Yeah. I mean, you're more likely to see Danny's tweet than this episode, but if you're here first, then thank you.
One random piece of news, an article that just dropped from Collider about
good.
The DCEU.
Okay, so not just Snyder Cut related. But...
No, we don't. I am not. This article says nothing about Zack Snyder. I don't know. This is not some. This is a kind of pretty serious thing that we don't want to point fingers on.
Okay.
People are saying that they think it was Zack Snyder's original choice. I don't know.
I'll weigh in what I think.
So Connie Nielsen, who plays Queen Hippolyta, or however you say it.
Hippolyta.
Is it Hippolyta?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. She said in an interview that
Hippolyta.
Hippolyta.
It's Hippolyta.
She said in an interview that Patty Jenkins had to step in and stop the Amazons from having a tragic backstory that included mass murder.
Oh my God.
I will read an excerpt of the quote. It's a very long quote, so I'm not going to read the whole thing. So Connie is quoted saying she was very clear about what the Amazons were supposed to be. And I think that there had originally been some idea that the Amazons had been deeply traumatized by some kind of horrible event that involved mass murder. And Patty just said, no. We're not going to put that on the Amazons. We don't start seeing them as victims, and why would we? Let's just get rid of that part and make sure that these are heroes in their own terms. They've not been part of the victims of history. And then she goes on for more. But that's what's important. Also, there's this fantastic Manscaped ad
Ah, good. Thank you, Manscaped, for that. Sponsor us, please.
Yeah, I'm not. I mean, yeah, I'll put it on the screen just so.
No, don't. No free ads. No free ads. But well,
yeah,
that's just. I mean,
again, like, see that's something where there was no source given. I do not want to.
Yeah, I don't want to speculate, but I wouldn't be surprised if it was a certain male director of the Snyder Cut that was the.
Or let's be real though, it could also be the male director of the theatrical cut.
That's possible too, but I do know our boy Zach loves some.
Yeah, he does love the darker stuff.
He enjoys overcoming of trauma that is very unnecessary for fictional characters that you are writing.
It makes me very happy to see that Patty Jenkins actually stepped up and was like, no, that's not happening.
Yeah, no, it's good the line was drawn somewhere.
And that furthers for me that it's like, I want Patty Jenkins to keep doing this. Did you?
Yeah, about that.
Speaking
rumor.
of that, I'm going to pull up the screenshot just because.
We got another rumor about the DCEU.
It's from our friend Grace Randolph, who's actually
close and personal friend.
The worrisome part is that she's
tight with Zack.
She's tight with Zack Snyder. So, but for me, what I'm about to read all feels like her trying to help Zack by hyping people up.
Yeah, that's how I got from it as well.
So she tweeted, just to reiterate, I'm hearing exciting things from multiple sources about the Snyder Cut. Justice League 2 and 3 might now be possible. Some suits want Zack Snyder to direct Wonder Woman 3, which I think is an excellent idea. I don't. I think say like Patty Jenkins is a great director, and I think she is the best choice, absolutely, to finish her trilogy, 100%, without a doubt.
That you said it right there, like it was her trilogy.
Exactly.
So like it would make sense.
That
it would make so much more sense.
Exact same as Zack Snyder losing Justice League.
It would make so much more sense to bring in a new director for Wonder Woman 4 if they were to do it that way.
But also taking this movie about this female superhero who is one of the most empowering characters of all time and taking it from a female director and giving it to a man,
a disgraced man.
Just the biggest kick in the face. That would be so. I cannot see them doing that at all.
No,
I don't think
it's just at the very least a horrible PR move, let alone just a general bad decision.
And I personally don't think Zack Snyder understands Wonder Woman.
No,
that photograph that we saw of her holding the severed heads.
Yeah, when he gave all the Amazonians bikini. It was completely different armor than the Wonder Woman movie, and it was 100% like his choice. Like,
yeah, people claim it's Joss Whedon, but I feel like
they filmed no.
I agree with you.
That's not reshoot material. Like, I guess it could be. Like, we'll never know, but that was that's totally his thing. Because like, there's so many shots in even the 5 minutes she's in Batman v Superman where it's like, oh, sexy lady.
He directed Sucker Punch.
Yeah, that too. Yeah. It went 300. Like, he does it with guys too. Like, it's not like a. I mean, it is a sexist thing for sure, but he does it both ways.
Yeah.
I mean, who doesn't? You know?
But yeah, we'll have so much more information, much more to talk about all this stuff tomorrow.
Yeah.
Not tomorrow, next
week. I mean, it'll be tomorrow for you guys.
Yeah, you'll get to watch it tomorrow. Wow.
Oh, wow.
I'm so jealous. I have to wait 4 days. So while we're just getting all of our pre-Snyder Cut stuff out, because this is the last episode before this is our
man T minus how many days? I mean, for the viewer it's 1, for us it's 4.
Yep. And so we are I'm just excited for probably 2 weeks to 2 months, somewhere in that period afterwards, when the talk of the Snyder Cut dies down and we can move on to greener pastures of talking about other things.
The Batman.
So because I was gonna bring that up too.
Yeah,
there were huge rumors going. So the Batman wrapped a couple days ago.
Yes,
there were huge rumors going around
that he was gonna be in the Snyder Cut. No. Dude, what if they came back from the nightmare sequence and they did it like Flashpoint, where it was Pattinson? I would hate that because he doesn't deserve that universe. Like,
no, the universe doesn't deserve him.
Yes, yeah.
So there were rumors going around that Robert Pattinson is a piece of shit and apparently was causing a bunch of problems on set, which had no credence. There was a rumor even so far that leaked on 4chan that like is so very fake
Is it that he had sex on a Batmobile?
Matt Reeves walked in on Robert Pattinson and Zoe Kravitz having sex on the Batmobile, and she is now pregnant. Whoa!
I did not hear that part.
Just the most and this guy. Go for it.
I will say, outside of any other allegations, and none of these are obviously true or false. You know, we don't know shit.
Yeah.
But they're definitely leaning towards false. But if the Batmobile part at the very least is true, we stan a king and also a queen. Like that's
if
that's
it's
Zoe
Kravitz
lit. That's
and
lit.
Robert Pattinson's like method acting to a T.
No, that's tight. That's real. Like that is one where it's like if that got him kicked off the movie, which would be so horrible and dumb, devastating, but also nice.
But like people said that Matt Reeves walked in and called him a diva and said he was never working with him again. All this like malicious stuff. And Matt Reeves retweeted yesterday when somebody tweeted a quote from Matt Reeves. He is such an incredible actor. What he's doing is going to blow people's minds. Matt Reeves on Robert Pattinson. Matt Reeves retweeted that yesterday. It's like you didn't have to retweet that.
Yeah.
You don't have to come out like obviously if there's stuff going bad behind the scenes, you're not going to say anything. But he chose to retweet that.
He chose to retweet it, and that's easy. And like maybe he does, like maybe there, to every lie there's a percentage of truth.
Yeah.
So maybe there was one moment that was bad. And,
yeah, well, Pattinson's a weird guy.
Yeah. No, I mean he's an actor. Like he's eccentric. Like it's part of the thing. But I think it's not like even if there was some strife on set, him retweeting that is saying like. It's nothing that I can't put
exactly.
past.
It's
like,
we're
it's
going to
water
move
under the
on.
bridge.
We're making a trilogy.
In any professional situation, like you're not gonna like everybody 100% of the time. Like it's
especially when it's because
especially creative stuff.
Robert
like
Pattinson's done weird stuff.
Yeah,
like he's done. Like he was
he's
in the
not
Lighthouse.
Jared Leto weird, but he's weird.
He's because he's not method. That's the differentiate. Where like I assume, and I've heard stories about him like getting into the mindset before they do takes, and it's like then at that point he's like kind of unapproachable.
Yeah,
which is understandable. He's not sending pigs full of bullet shells.
Yeah,
to his fellow castmates.
Yeah, he's an auteur, not a psycho. But
I'm so excited for the Batman.
He did. Is it true that he jerked off for real in the Lighthouse?
I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, there's no way to know.
I mean, as long as he cleared it with Willem Dafoe, I was like, "Hey man, is it okay if I actually jerk?"
William Dafoe just said, "I don't have a William Dafoe impression."
I was trying to Christopher Walken one, but I can't do it. But yeah, I'm excited and a lot of those rumors about Pattinson are probably coming from the Snyder fanboys of the highest extent, where they're just trying to
take down anything.
I've seen so many tweets this week. They're like, until it's confirmed otherwise, the Pattinson movies are just young Batfleck stories. It's like,
gross.
No,
that's not how that works.
Matt Reeves also, just like this will be the last note. Matt Reeves left the project until he was given the ability to rewrite the entire script. Yeah. He didn't like the Batfleck story that they had.
Yeah, which I was very excited and curious at the time, mainly just by the one tagline that was announced where they said it was Batman and Arkham, but the Raid. Like in the style of the Raid, which when I heard that, I was like, okay. Which maybe we'll still get pieces of that.
I just hope. I mean, I could see this one not having much to do with Arkham because we were early. I want a movie. You're playing Arkham Asylum right now.
Yes.
I want a movie that's basically just the Arkham Asylum games, except minus a specific. I don't know how far you are, so I won't spoil it.
I'm not very far.
Minus a specific aspect of the game that's just a little convoluted.
Got it. And I mean, it's a video game.
Exactly.
So you got to make changes.
It's used to make the gameplay more fun. It's like just to get rid of that.
Yeah. We watched Willys Wonderland.
And this is usually we discuss things just because we're friends and we like talking about things. So prior to podcast, we have discussions about like WandaVision every week. We talked before we record the podcast.
Yeah.
We made sure to not say a word about this movie to each other.
When I specifically presented, hey, let's watch Willys Wonderland for the pod. Not like, hey, you should watch this or we should watch this. No, we're gonna watch this for the podcast.
Yes. So we hung out a little bit before the pod and we didn't say a word about it. So we are getting each other's opinions fresh
live.
That was certainly a movie.
How many Nick Cages out of 10 would you give it? Just as like
So are we,
as
like,
an overview.
rating like 4 Nick Cage movies specific? Like is that the scale that we're doing? Like where does it?
No, just in movies.
Okay,
Just as a movie.
probably a 6. I had a great time. Not a good movie.
Yeah.
Had a great time.
Yeah. I'd give it like a 4.5 or a 5 because it
Yeah.
was a good time, but a tough movie.
So as somebody who understands like filmmaking and like just like basic stuff, it was kind of cool to see them throw a lot of conventions out the window and like the most basic, obvious spoilers for Willys Wonderland.
Yeah, full spoiling.
The most basic, one I observed was when they were all on the roof and the roof caved in and they all fell into the ball pit, even though they were standing completely across the roof from each other. Like just small things like that. I think they sacrificed the small details and stuff for fun.
Yeah.
And that's why I'm okay with it.
Yeah. It was definitely it like to an extent it knew what it was.
Yeah. I'm not sure how I feel about the demons plotline. Very basic, like just so cut and dry.
Like cliche horror movie. Yeah.
I kind of wish it was just the serial killer still in the costumes.
Yeah. I mean that yeah.
If it was like the town was like a cult instead, and they sacrificed people, and it was instead of sacrificing to the mascot, the mascot sacrificed them to some sort of mascot god.
Yeah, I mean, I was fine with it because it was either just, I mean, it was gonna be ghosts or something, anyways. So like, I don't know. The fairy. She was the only one that like actually unsettled me. Like, yeah, they were all kind of equally unsettled. Like, none of them were. I didn't really have one where I was like, oh my god, that's creepy, or one where I was like, oh, that's nothing.
It was something about the actual like trying to almost human features of that one that was like it's just a little bit more unsettling than the rest.
Kind of like Momo.
Yeah.
Dude, Momo.
Yeah.
I do not like the look of that thing.
Probably the best. Well, what in your opinion was the best animatronic kill?
Honestly, what was the first one? Was it the gorilla?
No, the gorilla was the second one, but that was my favorite.
Okay, yeah, the gorilla. Was that the one in the bathroom
where
room?
he curb stomps him on the urinal?
Yeah,
that one was like Nick Cage for this proved to me that man has charisma.
I mean, yeah. I mean, I thought we knew that, though.
And no, but he doesn't need to speak to have it. I do think
that's. I would have. I do agree that he pulled it off without speaking, but I would have liked. I think it just would have made the exposition feel more natural.
I would have liked it had he, even if he was a quiet guy, a man of few words. A man of no words felt a little much.
That's because like the whole like the conversation in the truck at the beginning. It's like, how does that conversation actually? No one.
And then like where he's like, I have a, you can stay at this, you work it off at this place, blah blah blah, and he goes, huh? It's like, have him say yeah.
Yeah.
Like
No, I agree. I think it works better if there's like a little bit of like just a word or two. But maybe Nick Cage was just in a bad mood.
Well,
he just didn't want to.
So I was reading through the trivia on IMDb.
Okay.
Apparently, Nick Cage has wanted to do a silent horror movie for a long time, and I'm assuming that's how they won him over to do this movie.
Interesting.
Which I mean, it was.
I mean, that's very much.
It added a fun aspect to it that like it would have felt like it was trying to be Five Nights at Freddy's had it not been.
Yeah, it was.
And I'm glad. Like I don't know much about Five Nights at Freddy's, and I know I think Chris Columbus is directing the actual Five Nights at Freddy's movie.
Interesting.
I think there's too much attached to that to do it properly for the mass audience.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas this, it's just like they're possessed and they'll.
Yeah, I mean, I liked. Yeah, I don't know. My favorite part of the movie was the fact that he was ripping through that fake energy drink or pop or whatever, the punch.
Punch. So I was. It's got to be something supernatural. Like I feel like that's like a super soldier serum.
I know. Well, I tweeted while watching the movie, someone should cast Nick Cage as Popeye because to me the punch was just spinach. Yeah,
because like he does. Like he drank the one and then he went and punched 2 of them in the face and they fell to the ground. So
yeah.
Like, okay.
I mean that is just how caffeine works, though.
Somebody did the math and I screenshotted it. Of if those were equivalent to Bang, how much caffeine he consumed.
Jeez, too much.
So if this is a Bang, let's say it's a Bang because this man reached the conclusion of being a Bang because Bang and punch.
Yeah.
So it's like that's fair. there's about 300 milligrams of caffeine in each bang.
Yep.
So for that for punch, he closed. Apparently there are 3 empty cans shown at the beginning, so it's a total of 7. So 3,000 milligrams
Over the course of a day, 20 or like 12 hours, pretty much.
That's so much caffeine.
It's really bad for you. But I mean, he is a big guy, bigger guy.
I felt we had the dog tags at the start. He was
just like kind of a vague
he was a Captain America-esque super soldier, and this just reactivates it. Because there was something about the timer for me, like it felt like he needed to drink those.
Yeah, it did. It put off the vibe that was his spinach.
Because he does leave. Like there's the one where they're standing face to face with one. It's him and the girl, and then it beeps, and he just hands her the knife and walks out.
That's a weird subplot. Like
I didn't like the kids.
No, the kids totally felt like to me like they're making this movie and a producer had a niece that wanted to get into acting. Yeah. And they're like, all right, we'll just shoehorn her and her friends into this.
Yeah, and then like they tried to build plots within the kids, like her and that one guy whose neck got snapped by the tongue.
Yeah.
Like never once cared about it. And it was such an anticlimactic moment that I was like, oh, he's gone.
Yeah, well, and also the second that the first of the kids died, I was like, oh, all of them are dying.
Yeah,
like,
for sure.
I was like,
it was always all of them but the girl.
Yeah.
It was interesting that the girl was a survivor of it. Like, that was an interesting concept, but it should have just been the one girl.
It should have been the one girl. Well, and also, yeah.
And she wasn't a very good actress.
No. That's why she gives off niece of a producer vibes, for sure.
The sex scene was...
Shout out unneeded horniness.
But also, like... My big thing is, always with horror movies, I'm not a big horror movie connoisseur. I've seen a few, though. Don't go into the room where there were people sacrificed.
Yeah, well, and they had the throwaway line where the girl was like, is it weird that this turns me on? And he's like...
Yes!
He's like... yeah, he should have said yes, but he's like, oh, you a freak, which was funny.
Yeah. He was a pretty good actor. He was probably the best out of the group.
Well, and he's also and it's also like the typical like the one character that actually makes sense because he's like, no, let's not do this. Like this is a bad like the one person with common sense.
And then
he fucks a girl on like an altar for demons.
He got to have sex, and then she was like, it's watching us, and he's like, let's give it a show. It's like,
yeah, well,
you guys, they know what goes down in here. That's my big thing.
True, but I will say the human brain, when horny on main brain is very different than brain.
I am gonna call you out for something real quick. Nothing with you being horny. You told me Nick Cage hung dong in this movie, and I was like, I can't see this character taking his pants off. What? Like, just curious where it's gonna happen, and it didn't.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to get your hopes up. It was a sarcastic remark.
I mean, it was.
Yeah.
Yeah. But overall, a fun movie.
Yeah.
I had a good time watching it. There was a lot of weird bits that I felt could have been completely done a different way and it would have been more effective, but I was fine with it. The end was super strange with the fairy blowing the car up.
Yeah.
Completely unnecessary.
Yeah. It's definitely one of those movies that wouldn't be a bad idea to watch with other people, like a group of people even, like as just like kind of background noise because you don't need to watch the whole thing. Like it's not something where you're like, this is an event, you know? But yeah, I mean, like I said, 4 to 5 Nick Cages out of 10 on a scale of movies about animatronic robots possessed by demons. I give it a 6.9 Nick Cages out of 10.
What ranks higher than that though?
I mean, I don't know. But it's just, you know, I have a moral bar. Yeah.
It reminded me. Have you heard of Escape from Tomorrow?
Mm-mm.
I have not watched it, but I was very interested in like the filming of it, and it's like super indie, so it's hard to find. These people filmed a horror movie inside Disneyland without getting Disneyland's permission.
Interesting.
And so like, I never watched it, and apparently it's like about this guy who like cheats on his family or cheat on his wife, and the other family's there as well.
Oh.
And so it's like there's just some sort of, and then somehow it devolves into lunacy. Like I think at one point he was on Small World and the dolls started doing something.
Oh.
Like I just remember seeing clips, and like the concept where it's like interesting, probably not very good, but interesting.
Yeah, especially if it's run and gun indie. then it's
Yeah.
obviously.
I was curious as to the budget of Willys Wonderland
Uh,
because 90% of it probably went to Nick Cage.
yeah, I think it was like probably like 2 million, and like 60% of that went to Nick Cage. We can just
And
Give that
and
a
the
quick
animatronic,
Google.
because the animatronic costumes were good. I saw people complaining that they moved too human, but they were possessed, so I was fine with it.
It was a good too, because I could tell there was a blend. Like every fight scene had like multiple seconds of actually like costume or animatronic,
Yeah.
but then also CGI. Like I could see.
Yeah,
the
if you
good
look at like the
cuts.
cast list, you can see the voices and the body actors. So
Yeah.
like there was clearly people in those, and it wasn't them.
$5 million US.
More than I expected.
More, I think the budget went entirely.
Oh, it did so poorly though.
The budget went entirely to Nick Cage, and then costumes / VFX for the costumes and like the animatronics and Nick Cage got the most money.
It is sitting at $370,000 right now with box office. But I was reading the trivia of this, and I'm gonna pull it back up so I can quote it really quick.
This is definitely one of those movies that would have done a lot better if theaters were fully open.
100%.
Because this is one you can go see with friends or like as a date or like whatever, just to be like, oh, this is like a fun experience. Whereas it's different, you know. And also, I don't want to spend $20 every week to watch a movie in my living room, but I will spend $20 every week to go to the theaters.
So I do need to apologize to Justin specifically because he tweeted at me. I tweeted that I finished it and that I really liked Nick Cage's pinball dances, which was apparently improvised, which just shows the charm of Nick Cage.
Method.
But he asked me where I watched it. I didn't want to out myself on Twitter. I told him I rented it. I did not rent it. I did not go the most legal route. Is all
allegedly.
Yeah, allegedly.
Allegedly.
I don't speak for the company or brand.
Yeah, allegedly. There's more than one way to watch it.
Yeah, and it took me a little while to find a proper way to watch it, but it was definitely worth it because I would have been kind of upset had I spent $20 to watch this movie.
Yeah, I allegedly feel similar about that.
Okay, so this is a quote from Wikipedia. In an interview, Geo Parson, who I don't know, who, they're either the writer or the director, not the director, because the director's name is Kevin. I want to credit this person. Yeah, the writer of the movie, in an interview stated he had an idea for a sequel if it gets enough support, and in February of 2021, it was stated that a sequel is actively being discussed. I'm not. I read that prior to reading the budget or the
now it's a little bit like, really?
Yeah, but
because also if $5 million is the total budget, that's still bad. But if it's like most Hollywood budgets where it's actually probably double that or at least 1.5 times that for marketing, that's really bad.
Well, marketing was really bad for this movie too. So
yeah, which is what makes me think 1.5 as opposed to 2 times.
Like,
they spent at least $1 million.
Oh, for sure.
At the very least.
The ending with the two of them in the car and her taking a sip of the punch. If either of our theories are right, where I'm saying it's a super soldier serum and you're saying it's just the spinach,
it's
like
just
it's what
power elixir.
Yeah. Then she's gonna be kicking. But we know nothing about this character too, so like that's hard to do. If it's a sequel with Nick Cage, and
it's just gonna be his character from Kick-Ass training her. Not like that. But like
my
in the
mind
same
immediately when the movie starts with him in a fast car driving crazy, I was like, it's his character from Gone in 60 Seconds.
That'd be really funny. It would have been really funny if while he was fighting the monsters, he turned into Ghost Rider. This is confirmed MCU.
Oh, I love me some Nick Cage. I am having a good time just with the current Nick Cage stuff. Have you seen Mandy? Mandy is a heavy recommend. It is. I'm not even gonna tell you anything about it.
What's it on?
I don't know if it's on anything. I bought it on Blu-ray because I wanted to watch it real bad.
Wow.
And so if it's not anywhere, I will lend it to you because it is
ballin'. Big ballin'.
It goes so hard. It's just on Prime Video to rent for $3.
What is? Oh, you know what movie I watched this week?
What did you watch?
Watched Us.
Okay, I still haven't watched Us.
Worth watching.
Yeah, My girlfriend really wants me to watch it, and I don't like watching actual horror movies by myself.
It's a good one though, where there's a good sense of realism while still having comedic relief.
Yeah.
Like it's not like wacky comedy or like it's just that like some of the characters still are human and common sense, so they will like make jokes and Winston Duke is great in it. He's the standout character. Well, that's not fair. He was my favorite character.
Yeah, I mean I've heard Lupita does.
She's great. Yeah. She probably had the better performance. But
yeah. I rewatched. Have you seen Ready or Not?
Mm-mm.
Ready or Not goes hard. I mean, we're talking on the vein of kind of like horror, but aspects of it that make it not scary-esque movies.
What's your favorite horror movie? Of any end of the
I
genre?
really like Psycho. Just like the OG Psycho. And then I watched Bates Motel, and it like almost increased my appreciation for the movie, even though it's like obviously not canon.
Yeah.
Have you watched any of Bates Motel?
No.
The last season,
I'm aware of it vaguely just from reviews and stuff. But.
The last season they remake Psycho.
Interesting.
And Rihanna is the main girl. You know, have you seen Psycho?
Shower scene girl?
Yeah. Spoilers for Psycho from 1960 something.
Yeah. Probably 69.
Nice. She's the shower girl, except she's in the shower and she's feeling creeped out. Like she's like, I don't know what's going on. And so she goes and leaves. She leaves the town so they don't kill her. And then the guy who's been cheating,
Rihanna and everything she's in, she just plays herself.
The guy she's been cheating, because she was with the Sam Loomis character in the show is a piece of shit, and she's his mistress.
So it's like a retelling, a little bit.
And
like
so he goes to find her at the motel, and he's like, okay, she's not here, she'll be back later. And so he gets in the shower, and he's the one that gets off. So it's a very interesting spin on it.
Have you seen the Vince Vaughn Psycho?
I have, and it's the worst thing ever.
I haven't, but I've just heard so many negative things.
And it doesn't add anything. Is my big problem. Where it's like if you're gonna remake something, you got like that. Put a spin on it.
Put a spin on it, or blow it out of the park. Like go ham.
Yeah,
on
if
it.
you're gonna do it, if it's gonna be shot.
Yeah.
And that's not the right cast.
Yeah, that's the same thing. If it's like a book, movie, or anime adaptation, like. You either gotta change it up and spice it up, or you just gotta make it better than the original by making it the exact same as the original.
What's your favorite horror movie?
Cabin in the Woods.
Okay.
Subversion of expectations in a fun way, while also still being kind of scary and thrilling.
Yeah, I mean, do we count Killer Clowns from Outer Space? Have you seen Killer Clowns?
I have not, but it sounds like a horror movie title.
So, I don't remember what either the director or the writer described Willys Wonderland. I was reading about it as some
tangential.
It was some
sequel.
character versus Killer Clowns from Outer Space is how they pitched it. Some like John Wick-esque character.
I
don't remember how they
like a pre-demon Freddy or Jason, versus
exactly.
Interesting. Yeah, I would like to make a horror movie one day.
Yeah.
Oh, remember that idea that I had about a month ago?
I do.
To film this summer. Horror movie. Horror short film. Really break into the indie horror space.
Let's absolutely do it.
I forgot about that already.
Especially if looking like we're going to get vaccinated soon.
Ooh, more on that later. That's just a tease for whenever we do get vaccinated. We'll let you know. We'll talk about it.
I was like, I don't know what.
Yeah, no, that just completely block your segue. No.
But yeah, I mean, Willys Wonderland overall enjoyable movie.
Yeah,
circling back.
Yeah,
we I think we'll do this more, or we'll just watch random movies.
Especially while we're waiting for movie
content,
production to. I mean, we're gonna be getting plenty in the next couple weeks.
So so next week is gonna be our Snyder Cut episode, and then probably the week after we'll probably talk the first 2 episodes of Falcon Winter Soldier
or Zilla versus Kong.
I'm down for both of those.
Yeah, let's do that, and then we can do the first 3 or 4 episodes.
And I think it's 6 episodes.
Yeah, so we'll be halfway
through.
So
we can do there's the first halfway
point, and then maybe the week after that we can Attack on Titan season 4 part 1 will be over.
Yep.
More on that later. Just
literally
a couple episodes from now, probably, give or take.
Yeah. Yeah. Sad that we didn't get an Attack on Titan episode this week, but
I mean,
hopefully everybody in Japan.
yeah, hearts
all
out
good.
to
Yeah.
the natural disaster squad. That's no good. Hate to
And I
see
mean,
it.
it did seem like in all the statements I saw, it wasn't like, "Hey, this is serious." Like it's like stuff is crumbling.
It was just be careful.
we need to make sure that
Just
that
informative.
that the airways are free for news. Like
Yeah, and that makes sense. And
Which
I'm
I-
sure
yeah.
they also have a different structure for
Yep.
networks and stuff. Not that I even understand our own, but it's different. But with that said, I think we wrap it up.
yeah,
We've been each other,
yep. And we'll
and this has been our podcast.
tune in next week for us to talk about Snyder's butt.
And Snyder's Nut. It's going to be all over our faces for 4 hours.